Well, good morning from the city. Thought I'd put you on this morning. Hadn't. Oh, reach back here and grab my coffee. Campfire coffee. Gotta have it. Gotta have it. Actually, I got some chai, which is really kind of unusual, from the food bank the other day on Saturday, and thought I'd put a little bit in my cup. So I got some chai, and this morning I got me some grits already made with some butter. Thought I'd just have a conversation with you, see how you doing, tell you how I am. It's kind of interesting. I was gonna begin posting yesterday, and I went to charge my phone where I have to go, which is actually the public library. That's really a good resource for just getting on a computer. Get you a library card and get on a computer, so you got access to a desktop, and you can plug in. If you got a little power bank, you can plug in your power bank and sit there for a couple hours, warm up if you have to, cool down if it's necessary in the summertime. It's really kind of handy, good resource to have. But public libraries all over the country. But if you do go in there, don't go in there looking like a bum. Although they'll let you come in, it kind of draws attention to you, and eventually, if enough people are like that, and I've seen some doozies come walking into mine, sitting down right next to me, and they lay out everything that they own right there on the bench, and it's food, and they start laying on the bench and watching their YouTube or watching whatever it is they're watching, and that's all well and good, but the patrons that aren't in our situation, they come in and they kind of go, so don't put them through that. Try to be respectful. Come in, use the facility if you have to, but leave it clean. If you're coming in, don't take up every plugging in 15,000 batteries that you got. Be respectful. I might need to use them. Came in one day, and I'll bet you this fella had 20 plugs plugged into all the outlets. Didn't have any room for even to get two. So, I don't know. I don't know why people are like that. It's all about themselves. They don't ever think about the other guy. So, anyway, I've been spending some time watching some homeless videos, and I went down there and was going to upload my stuff, and I forgot my phone. Duh. So I couldn't do it on the day that I wanted to, but I'm going to try to do it today. At least start uploading a few things and get it going. Start getting familiar with it, and getting to understand what I got to do. And I just don't want it to take over my life, whatever life this is. There's all kinds of things to talk about, and I really guess I've been noticing about this homeless bill that Mr. Trump has pushed forward, and it basically outlaws you being homeless. Well, what the hell? You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. A lot of people don't. And I didn't have a choice, and I can't seem to get out of it because I'm too old, or I'm too this or too that, or don't understand how the system works. But no, not really true. And it ain't that I didn't try. I had 88 job applications in last summer. I had a $25 an hour job, which isn't stupendous, but I was working at a college, and I had a little efficiency in not a halfway house, but a transitional housing facility that when I became homeless, a church helped me with. And that's what ultimately brought me right here where I'm at. And part of me wants to talk to you about it. I'm not sure today's the day. Oh, every time I reflect on the past, it brings up the past, and I have to kind of relive it, and I don't really want to. God knows it was difficult, and it really threw me for a loop, put me in a place with a world of hurt on it, and that's kind of why I'm here. But maybe, like I believe, God always uses your circumstances, and sometimes He gives us those circumstances to bring us closer to Him. And a lot of people I know don't want to hear that, but they don't know how to receive it, and they're caught up in the world. And until you get small and you get still and you get reflective, you don't really develop that heart to want to listen to God, or listen for God, or listen for. And you say these prayers and you think, everybody says, you better pray. Well, yeah, you do need to pray. But you have to pray in such a way and condition yourself for God to really bless you. And that comes with surrendering. You have to surrender. And when you surrender and you get to a point where you don't have any options, that's when you call on God. And you will be amazed. You will be amazed is all I can say. It's happened that way my whole life. Don't know why God waits to the last minute, but many times I wished He wouldn't, honestly. But I said something the other day to someone, and God doesn't make mistakes. He knows you better than you know yourself, much better. He doesn't make mistakes. And a little guy came in and started talking to me at the library, and he said, well, I don't pray much. I said, well, maybe you should. Maybe you should. Well, I don't like to ask for much. Well, ask not, and you will receive not. You don't ask God for it, you don't get it. You don't make somebody aware that you're in need. How are they going to know, really? If they've been through it, they might have the heart to see it in you. They might reach out. But what if you're prideful? What if you're ashamed of being homeless? What if you're ashamed of saying, I don't have any money and I don't have any food? It's cold out there and I don't have enough blankets. And you keep quiet. Well, how's that going to benefit you? I don't think it is. But God needs to know. He knows what your situation is, but He needs you to know. And He needs you to surrender that situation to Him so that you can be blessed. And you might think, oh, woe is me. I'm having such a hard time. I just don't know why. Life is, blame it on Trump, blame it on the elites, blame it on your boss, blame it on your kids, blame it on your husband, blame it on, but no. You can't blame it on anybody. Nobody put you there but your own choices. Wherever you are, your choices brought you to where you are. Now, maybe you didn't know how to make those better choices, and most people don't. So that's what you learn in life. What to do, how to do it, how to survive, how to do it, how to survive without turning caustic, turning dark and evil and mean and mad. You don't have to be. You just have to learn how to align yourself. And be patient. Be vocal. And learn how to receive. Receive. Which means getting rid of your pride. Pride cometh before the fall. Right? Yep. I didn't think I was prideful when I lost everything. I didn't think I was materialistic either. I had nice things, and I appreciated nice things. But it wasn't absorbent. You know, I wasn't engrossed, so I thought, in things. I didn't think I needed them to make me feel some way. But the truth of it was that when it began to fall away from me, when things were stripped from me, when I lost this and I lost that, I was in shock at first, but after the shock, I began to experience and run into other people who'd lost more, who were still struggling with what they had lost, and I realized that's me. I'm regretful and mournful about how it was and what I had and not having it anymore. And I had reached I wasn't super wealthy, but I was wealthy. You know, I lived in a very nice house that I had renovated and lived there alone. I drove a $100,000 car. I had 2 businesses. I made 10 grand a month easy, without flinching. Several $100,000 in the bank. I wasn't going nowhere. And if you'd have told me that what was getting ready to happen to me, that I would go from being a millionaire to being in a tent in 2 years, I'd have laughed at you. I would have. I'd have laughed at you. Thought pretty highly of myself, even though I wasn't necessarily boastful. I wasn't overtly proud. I thought I was humble. I had a lot of stuff. Stuff. It's a trap. Stuff. And it took me losing it all in order to really realize that stuff takes up a very insidious little part of your nature. It occupies a huge, or not a huge, but a little crevice in your soul that kind of is like a crack that when the earthquake happens, you have some soul shaking. That crack seems to rupture and turn into a chasm, and you become desperate to hang on to your stuff. with your stuff. That's your identity. At least you think it is. But you're not what you own. Have you heard that before? Well, yeah, it's true. You're not what you own. You're not your name. You're not the job that you have. You're not the company that you built. You think you are because you haven't really thought about it until you have to think about it. You're the you, who you are, is the consciousness that sees those things. You're the consciousness that observes yourself. And that consciousness isn't a part of these things. It is the spirit within you. It is the soul within you that, if you recognize it, will, and you honor it, you will understand what life is truly about, and your whole trajectory of life will begin to change. I'm not going to say that you're going to get money all of a sudden. You might not. Depends on how you handled it. Depends on when you had money, how you handled it. I've always helped people. Always. But that doesn't mean that I was doing it right. It doesn't mean that I was doing it the best way I should. I didn't know any better. And that's okay. Because I didn't know anything better, I made choices based on what I knew that were detrimental to my life. And to my detriment, I had to live my life with the outcome of those choices. And those choices led to some difficulties. I don't know that with my options that any one of my choices, if I had made another one, would have led to something other than difficulty. It was just a place in life, and the way I chose to deal with it led me here ultimately, and taught me about myself and about what's important. And the one who learned that was the consciousness that observed my life and still does. I had to see me. I had to find me. And I never would have believed that I didn't know me, because I thought I knew myself. And I probably did know myself back then better than most of the people I knew. So I believed. And I actively tried to be kind, to helpful, to grow. But when I became so busy with my businesses, so consumed with making sure this was going right and that was going right, I began to take my eyes off of me, and I became a machine that was working in a situation that I was doing what I had to do to make the machine work, to keep it oiled, to keep people happy, but that's not what life is about. That's not what life is about. But unfortunately, I would say probably 95% of the people in the world live their life that way. So I'm just as guilty. But now I don't live my life that way. Part of me wants to. Yeah, part of me wants to jump right back in because I know how. I know I could bring myself up again. But there's a whole lot of peace down here. On the bottom, whole lot of peace. The burden is light and the yoke isn't heavy. No, or maybe it's the other way around. The yoke is, I don't know. There's a quote. But either way, I don't want any more stress in my life. Period. I don't want food stress. I don't want money stress. I don't want place to live stress. And I just, every choice I've made the last couple of years was to support my idea of not being back in that life, stressed out all the time, and making money, sure, but not for my life. Money's a wonderful thing. It affords you a lot of opportunity. It affords you a place in life. But I'm not saying I don't want it. I'm not saying I don't want the responsibility of having money, because responsibility of money, having money gives you responsibility to keep that money coming. Keeping that money coming causes you to jump right back into the system, to get an apartment, get a house, get a car, get stuff. And you go right back into the world that I don't want to be a part of anymore. And before you know it, you're lost again. So how do you keep that? You almost have to be alone, because your partner's not going to want to do that unless they've gone through the same shit themselves. So you're better off to be alone. And God, I don't know how people make it with kids these days. I feel so sorry for them. I don't think that they'll ever be able to get out of the system. But as much as I love America, I don't want to be here anymore. I'd like to get out of America myself, especially now, in light of the homeless bill that Mr. Trump has put forth. That's wrong. I understand the mode, the method, and the reasons for doing a lot of what he's doing, and I can't say that he's wrong. He's not wrong in some respects. But to throw every homeless person in that same category to make them responsible for themselves. I'm very responsible for myself. I'm not lazy. I'm not crazy. I don't even have a car to live in. But where's the freedom in being thrown into basically a work camp? That's not very American. You know, there's a lot of things about that homeless bill that I don't like at all. And I don't know where it's going to lead, but I don't like where it's leading. And I honestly don't think it needs to last. I don't like it at all. I understand the SNAP program and why there was so much fraud and there was so many people on it that were illegal aliens that were taking advantage of the system, and even Americans couldn't even get on it. I couldn't get on it. I got on it once. Took them 3 months to approve me. They only gave me 6 months anyway. Took me 3 months to get it. And at the 6-month mark, they threw me off the program and wouldn't put me back on it. Even though I had qualified, done everything they said that I didn't qualify. Okay, well, so no more SNAP. That's okay. I eat fine. I do fine. I get by. Little old chubby cheeks. Yeah, I would even say I'm gaining weight. I don't understand. But not everybody. You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know, not everybody is a thief. Not everybody is a fraudster. Not everybody is in a situation that they're trying to take advantage of the system. Some people just need it, and I needed it. I didn't have any money. And my situation came about because of my ID. All of my ID was taken. Birth certificate, passport, driver's license, health cards, meds, clothes, food, everything. Everything I had, which wasn't much, but at least I had my identity. Everything was taken and thrown away. And I'd never been in a situation where I didn't have my ID. I hadn't really even thought about it. But you know, you can't rent a room without your ID. You can't drive a car. You can't rent a house or an apartment. You can't set up a utility account. You can't get a job. And without a job, without a car, without a license to drive a car, without a home, without a place to get your mail, without the ability to pay a utility bill, how in the hell do you exist? What happens to you? Well, that's what happened to me. It made me homeless completely. I have no family. I'm the last of my generation. I have no children. I have no partner. And I have no living relatives. So I have no one to care. Now, no one to care, and that hurts a little bit because I'm a pretty loving guy. You know, everybody's struggling right now, so I can't really depend on people. I have to depend on myself, and it's hard, but at least I'm learning how to live like this. And as I said in one of my videos previous, you know, I'm kind of glad that I was allowed to live in this situation before shit hit the fan, because I can, you know, I can live in this situation, and it's only going to get worse. I know it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse soon. So God blessed me by putting me here, or not putting me here, but by allowing me to live through this experience, to prepare me. You know, God never gives you something that isn't good for you. God never allows you to experience it if it's not good for you. Now, I know that's a pretty broad and big statement, and a lot of people would question that and say, I don't know. But this is the way I look at it. You know, life is choices. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed. And our life is determined, and the outcome, by the choices we have made and the consequences of each of those choices, be them positive or be them negative. But negative is only a perception. I had to change from saying good or bad because choices are more than good or bad. Choices can be more beneficial for you, or choices can be neutrally complementary. Neutrally, meaning that they don't bring you anything extra, they don't take anything away. Or choices can be detrimental or more detrimental to your path. But whatever choice you make, and whatever outcome you deal with, you make the choice from your free will, and you make exactly the choice that you needed to in the moment that you made it. No matter what. And if you don't know how to make the best choice for yourself, then you make a choice that you understand based on the knowledge that you have in the moment for that situation. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So no shame in making a lesser than good choice, lesser than beneficial choice. But what happens is by making that choice that is less beneficial for you, you actually make a choice to teach yourself what is good for you by learning what not to choose. And that's how you grow. That's how you grow. So you look at your life in retrospect, and you can see that you learned how to deal with the things in your life that you encountered, and that made you better because you actually learned something, because you were able to grow in that situation from the experience of having that situation and making a less beneficial choice. That netted you knowledge, and that knowledge provided for you a comeuppance in the world, a spiritual comeuppance. So the trick is to make the best choices you know how to make for yourself, always. You're not going to make the best choices always, but you want to try to make the best choices always. And walk on through it. When you look back and see what you've done and how you've done it, you do a life review. Don't regret your choices. Everything you chose because you had to. You didn't know any better. God's not going to judge you for that. I'm not going to judge you for that. That's just life. That's just life. It's a shame that we have to make some bad choices and that there aren't people around to teach us. Yeah, sometimes you just have to do the best you can do. You really just have to do it the best you can do, no matter what, always. And realize that that's why you're here. That's why you're here. No shame. No shame. The choice not to approach life that way is a choice of hardship, severe. And that's when you're brought to your knees, because you're so wrapped up in life and climbing that ladder or making that money or keeping those children fed, whatever it is, that it takes something quite substantial to break you out of that and to make you come to your senses, essentially. But no matter what you do, the universe always conspires for your higher good. No matter what happens, you're going to gain knowledge. And just by that sheer fact, by the fact of growing, life is a positive experience, no matter what it is. Life benefits you. It benefits your soul. It benefits that consciousness that observes yourself. I always say, you can't lose at life. You can't. And that's the beauty of what the good Lord put in place. He made the system such that you can't lose. That you have totally, complete control and free will to make those choices and to learn creatively. You have within you the ability to become a creative individual and express whatever it is you feel to those around you, for yourself, and to emulate God, the nature of God, by making those beautiful things in the world, by making yourself better. I think we've lost it. And I know it's hard. If you're looking for it, I know it's hard. Believe me. I stand to testify on that. And I don't get it right 100%. I don't even get it right probably 50%. But you know, the difference is that I'm aware that that's the way I should look at my life. And not saying everybody's going to want to look at that life, at their life like that. But I'm here to say that if you do, peace of mind, sound mind, love, creativity, kindness, goodness, faith, self-control, all of those things that are listed in the Bible as manifestations of the Spirit, of he that has the Spirit of God within him, all of those things will naturally come about, almost without trying. You know? Everybody thinks it's so hard to follow God, reach for God. It's not. It's really not. It's the easiest path there is. We fight it. We constantly fight it. And we fight it because we've been programmed to fight it. But what if we didn't? What if we just surrender and say, all right, I see that ain't working, and I'm fit to change it. And go on and do it. Change it. Start living a way and in such a way that is good for you and your heart and your soul and for people. I think you'll be amazed if you try. I do, I really do. I think you'll be amazed if you try. It has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with a higher power. I totally believe in a higher power, but I do not believe in religion. No. I don't think I'm wrong about that. I could be. But based on my knowledge, based on my experiences, and based on what I've received as a result of looking at life this way, I don't have a doubt for myself. And that's all I'm going to go as far as saying is for myself. Not for anybody else, but for me. But ultimately, if you find anybody else with a similar mindset, you're going to find the same kind of manifestations of nature in their life. And if you have a conversation with them, you're going to truly see that you really have the same viewpoint and you arrived at it the same way. And it becomes a pattern when you find 2 or 3 people like that. And they're not easy to find. But when you do find them, you connect to them, and you realize, that's a secret. I wish you the best. I really do. I wish you the best. I hope that some of these videos help you. I'm gonna end it here today and get off my pulpit. I hope you don't think I'm preaching, because I'm really not. I'm just telling you my experiences, and my experiences are real. And I think that that they produced in me a good result. And I think that if you would employ some of those things, you'll find some peace and some courage and some strength to get through these times that are coming. I think you're going to need it. I think if you don't have that root, that you're going to have a very, very difficult life. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anybody. I want goodness and hope and freedom for everyone. Kindness, love. Yeah. Those are the things that matter. Not a Mercedes that you drive, not a big $500,000 house, not a big old fat paycheck. Those are distractions. They really are. And I'm going to hammer home, learn to discern what you need from what you want. And be proactive and let the wants go. And on that, I'm going to say, I need another cup of coffee. Have a good day. Bye.